So, you want to know more about Connor Bedard?
One-on-two step by the defenseman to the net. The deke, he scores! Oh my! Does it get any better than that? Connor Bedard puts on a show. He finds the back of the key.
What's going on, hockey friends? We are back, and today we are talking about one of the most exciting prospects in the entire world of hockey, and the best prospect since Connor McDavid. It's of course Connor Bedard. Now, Connor Bedard isn't draft eligible until next year in the 2023 draft, but he's been the talk of the hockey world for more than 2 years, along with Matvei Michkov, who is also going in that 2023 draft. And it looks like we're going to have an epic battle of who's going first overall in that draft. Now, I made a video on Matvei Michkov about 2 years ago, so if you want to hear me talk about him, you can check it out. It's not a very good video, and I'm probably making an updated video on him soon. But anyways, Connor Bedard is the guy who we're talking about today, and man, there's a lot to say, so let's just get into it. What makes him so good, and why is he the best prospect since Connor McDavid? So Bedard is the complete package in terms of his skill. He's obviously not a powerhouse physically, he's standing at 5'9", 181, which is still very respectable, but you have to remember that he's just 16 years old and will probably grow another inch or two, but even if he were to stay at his current size, that wouldn't really change anything because his NHL ready skills way up for that relative lack of size. And yeah, I said NHL ready skill because he's just unreal. Let's start off with his skating. This is one of the areas where Connor Bedard is already NHL ready. And I said he's the best prospect since Connor McDavid, and one of his defining skills is his skating and top end speed. And while Bedard is fast, he's not McDavid fast, but his skating is still amazing and he's got pace. In other words, what he does so well is that he does everything at high speed. You can compare Bedard's speed with McDavid and you'll realize Bedard isn't as fast as McDavid, and he probably won't ever be as fast as McDavid. But it doesn't really matter because Bedard has pace, so everything he does is just quick. Yeah, he can still burn defenders for speed, but he's even better when he does his quick crossovers, dropping his shoulder or receiving a pass at high speed. The fact that he can do everything at high speed is what separates him from the rest. Now, don't get me wrong, he's still fast and won't have any problem in the NHL. It's just that he does everything at such high speed, and it's so good, and he just thinks the game of hockey so well and so quick that everything he does is at Mach speed, and he reads what the defending player is going to do, and being able to react and adapt to that at the speed of which Bedard does is just incredible. To keep it short and sweet, he's an elite skater. His shot is also elite, and it's another skill of Bedard which is already NHL ready. I mean, when you see him shoot and some of the goals he scored, it's just insane. Honestly, it looks like a video game, and he's got that curl and drag technique for his wrister, which I absolutely love. And just the power and accuracy of his shot is insane. And the scary thing is that he's doing this at 16 years old. So just imagine what he'll be able to do in 4 or 5 years. This is a future Rocket Richard winner, and it's not even a bold prediction. So, elite skater, elite IQ, and elite shot. Is there anything this guy can't do? Not really, but there are some things that he can improve, and one of those things is his playmaking, and it's not bad by any means. And it's more of a symptom of the speed that Bedard plays the game. He's super creative, but it's just that some of his passes are too rushed. But the thing we need to remember, again, is that he's just 16 years old and has loads of time to develop and become as elite of a passer as he is a shooter. So all in all, the kid is the complete package and could honestly go first in this year's draft. But 2023 is the year we'll see him at the draft, and for one lucky team, that will be a draft that completely changes their franchise. So, what's his potential? Like I said earlier, he's the best prospect since Connor McDavid, and he is that franchise-altering player that every GM dreams of having. There are no two ways about it. Connor Bedard is generational and will carry whatever team drafts him for the next 15 years. He'll be driving your offense, he'll be the main guy on the power play, and he will be that big ticket name that is worth the price of admission on his own. He's already pretty much NHL ready, and the fact that he's got another 18 months to develop further is just scary to me, and once he hits the ice in the NHL, there will be no stopping him. Bedard is one of only 7 players in the Canadian Hockey League to be granted exceptional status, and he's the first ever player in the WHL to get that exceptional status tag. And if we look at some of the other players that have that tag, you see Connor McDavid and John Tavares, but you also see Sean Day, who didn't pan out, but I'm not worried about Bedard suffering that same fate. However, there were people that were worried about Bedard's relative slow start this season, with him not putting up the amount of points people were expecting, and for some reason people were having doubts about his potential and performing under pressure. But his underlying numbers were off the charts, and it was only a matter of time before he was going to start cashing in on his expected goals. And as expected, those worries were overblown, and since the World Juniors, he's been insane with 30 points in 12 games. And at the World Juniors, he had his big break and had that amazing 4-goal game. So it's safe to say that Bedard is living up to the hype. And there will be even more hype leading up to the draft next year, and with that, there will also be comparisons with the other generational talent at that draft, Matvei Michkov. Now this topic could be a whole video on its own, but this is the draft battle we've been waiting for a long time. We had Hughes versus Kakko in 2019, and we had Matthews versus Laine in 2016, but I think McDavid versus Eichel in 2015 is a more fair comparison. At the end of the day, McDavid was always going to go first overall, but Eichel was an amazing consolation prize and would have gone first overall in any other draft, and it's the same story here. And I know it sounds crazy to already say that with the draft being next year, but honestly, Bedard and Michkov are some of the most talented players we'll see, and to have them go in the same draft is so exciting. And even though I've been hyping up Bedard like crazy in this video, just comparing Bedard and Michkov skill wise and potential wise, they're on a very similar level. And if I had to flip a coin to decide who to pick, I wouldn't complain at the outcome, except if it wasn't for one pressing issue. Matvei Michkov has a contract with SKA St. Petersburg until 2026, meaning he won't be able to come over immediately. Now, I'm no contract expert and I'm just speculating here, but unless there is an exit clause or something in that contract, I don't see a world where Michkov goes first overall, and by that, somewhat robbing us of this potentially spectacular draft battle. And I'm not doubting there will still be a battle, but the question is more if a team is willing to take on that 3-year wait for Michkov, who would be 21 when or if he even comes over to the NHL. I think it's very interesting to discuss, and I feel like talking about that in a separate video would be better, so let me know in the comments below if that's something you would like to see. As for the question Bedard or Michkov going first overall, if we pretend Michkov wouldn't be under contract, it's a complete toss-up. This isn't a case of drafting best player available, because they're pretty much on the same level, and I think people are underrating what Michkov is doing, so then it would more likely be drafting after position, and Bedard is a center and Michkov is a winger, so if I were a betting man, Bedard would be my bet, regardless of Michkov's contract status. Well guys, there you have it. My thoughts on Connor Bedard and what makes him so good. How excited are you about him? Do you want your team to tank for him? Talk to me in the comments below. And by the way, I'm finally going to start using my Twitter. So if you made it to the end of the video, first of all, thank you. And if you want, hit me up on Twitter. The @ will be on the screen and in the description. And I will see you in the next one.